So, hi everyone. It's really good to be here today to talk to you a bit more about noCRM.io and Tilkee, and of course the integration within them both. So, yeah, welcome to our joint webinar. Like I say, we're going to be showing you a combo of both tools and how you can have the slickest sales process possible. And this will be presented to you by myself, so Kate. I'm the Head of UK Business Development at Tilkee, a French startup launched 4 years ago, which I'll mention in a bit more detail later on. And Mariana, who would you like to present yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Mariana, and I'm the Head of Customer Success on the noCRM.io site.
Excellent. So Mariana will be talking a bit more later on. First of all, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the agenda. So what we're going to be talking about in this webinar. So first of all, Tilkee. What actually is Tilkee for those of you that don't know it yet, and how does that work? What can you get out of it? If you need any help from me afterwards, hearing a bit more information, we have a bit on next steps, and I'll do a quick demo for you as well. And noCRM will be fairly similar. So what is this tool? Why does it exist? And how can it help you? A short demo again, and the next steps there. Of course, the most important part after this is the integration, both of them, how you can use the integration on both sides and get benefit out of that. And then we've got the Q&A at the very end. So what I would suggest to everyone is at the very bottom, you can see a chat box or Q&A. Any questions that you actually have, we suggest that you type them in there, and we'll come to them all at the very end. So please don't hesitate to ask anything you like. Yeah, let's get going. So I'm going to talk a bit about Tilkee. So first of all, for those that you don't know Tilkee, we are a French startup which was launched 4 years ago by 2 French entrepreneurs. And now 4 years down the line, we just completed our Series A, developing quite strongly in different regions of Europe and elsewhere. So what do we actually do? I mean, we've got a short sentence on the screen, but I'll explain it in a bit more depth if we just go slightly back. Yeah, that's the one. So it's simply a tool online which allows you to know exactly who is reading the documents that you send, when, and exactly how long for. So, and you're alerted in real-time email alerts. Now you may be thinking, what kind of documents and why is this beneficial? Well, when you're sending out documents, imagine the classic situation in the sales process where you'll send out a proposal or a brochure to a lot of different people. Once you clicked on that send button, there's an element of losing the power in a way, because you have no idea if these have been read and by who and to what extent people are really interested. So how do you prioritize that follow-up and make sure that you're being the most efficient you can be in your sales job? This applies to marketing as well, when we're trying to qualify those leads coming in from marketing campaigns. To what extent are people really interested? Is a click and an open rate really going to guarantee us that they're going to want to listen to what we say when we follow up? Potentially not. So that's why we have real-time analytics which go a lot more in depth. So talking about really the time that people read the documents. It could be a PDF, a Word, a PowerPoint, any kind of document format. Real-time analytics enabling you to know who you should phone back and when, to what extent, therefore, people are really interested to prioritize your follow-ups and leads in the best way possible. So if we, you can see along the bottom, we work with a number of large companies all the way down to startups in different industries that send documents in many different contexts. So if we just go on to the next slide, thank you. So what do we actually do and how does this help? Well, first of all, in the sales process, because we have a sales, a marketing and an events tool, this helps create proactive salespeople rather than being inactive and kind of passive, sending out lots of emails with attachments and not knowing how to deal with that afterwards. You become a proactive salesperson because you're able to see who is reading what you send, and you're kind of pushed to follow up with people because you've got those email alerts giving you all that information. You can imagine how this boosts conversion rate, getting back to the right people at the right time according to the context, and therefore shortening your sales cycle, because the time between communications or between correspondence is actually shortened each time, rather than sending out a document one day and thinking, oh, maybe I'll get back to someone in 5-6 days time. You know, it's a long document. You're actually seeing that they've read it the day after, so you can get back within 3 days time. Do you get the idea? So, you know, you can imagine how that starts to shorten the sales cycle, and we've seen that with quite a lot of companies. And finally, optimizing your documents and your content, because you're able to see with our marketing platform mass analytics on really how people are consuming your content, if you like. So that's what Tilkee does. And if I'm able to, I might take control of the screen now and do a quick presentation or a demo of the tool. Very simple. I think the most important thing for us at Tilkee is, thanks very much. I'm just going to share my screen now. So let's go on to Tilkee. So it's a very simple and easy to use platform. Of course, I'm slightly biased because I work here, but I can guarantee that you'll be able to use it in a short space of time after this demo. So just going to show you the most basic things. So how exactly would you send documents, proposals, white papers, quotes, anything you like, out to someone with Tilkee? You click on what we call a new project, so this button here. A project for us is a package of documents or a document you want to send to someone. So this could be a proposal plus a quote for Claire, for example. What we do is we add our documents here on the right-hand side. So any kind of format, as I mentioned. So it could be an image, a PDF, and a PowerPoint, for example. We add that here. Now, what we'll see next is that I'm able to edit the titles of the documents, because your prospect or client will be able to see these documents in a branded space for your company with the titles of the documents on the left-hand side, so that they can easily navigate between the documents and the relevant information for them. So inevitably, that creates quite a nice customer experience and a viewing experience. So we always want to make sure we name these properly. So this could be the proposal, the quote, and this could be just extra information or something like that. So you've seen how quite easy that is to actually change. Now, finally, the most important thing is to generate a URL, and it's the URL that will give your prospect or your client access to these documents. So you can send it through any channel because it is a URL. So this could be for Claire Brown, so we've changed that there. And all we do is we take this link and we can send it through any channel, so LinkedIn, even an FMS, or classic email. So imagining that I've taken that URL, I've written an email to Claire, and I've copied and pasted that link in the email. Imagine that Claire has of course just received that. So Claire's just received this and she's clicked on that link. And this is the sort of thing that we can see. So we can see a branded space to my company. You can see the titles of the documents on the left-hand side to easily navigate between the relevant information for me. And we can do this like this, and arrows with contact details here. So that's essentially what the space will look like for Claire. Even the URL is completely branded, so Tilkee does not appear anywhere. So essentially, if you're sending out a lot of documents to one person, rather than having that problem of too many documents or too many attachments in one email, you will not have that anymore, and you'll have them all here. So that's what it looked like. And then the statistics part, which I was talking about earlier. First of all, if I refresh my page, I will see not only that I can see that Claire has actually consulted, so read that information, but also in the statistics section, the time that she spent using it, the percentage of the documents that she's read, if she did or didn't download it, the device that she read the information on, and therefore if multiple people from within the company have actually read that. And then finally, we can see a detailed breakdown, which is really useful if you're sending out documents which are quite complex, to know exactly what interests your prospect, what is their focus point. And you can find that all within the platform. And also, if I go into my inbox and just refresh that briefly, we can see the email alerts. You've just seen the power of Tilkee fairly quickly in just a few minutes. And that's what the email alert looks like. So there we go. All the analytics you need to deal with a situation in the best way possible, deal with a prospect or a client in the best way, in the quickest way, to make sure that you succeed in your sales prospection and also further down the cycle. So that's Tilkee for you. And I'll potentially pass over to Mariana now to talk a bit more about noCRM.
Perfect. Let me just share the presentation again. If you would just want to say a few words about.
We have our chat, we have weekly webinars in various languages, and the Service Help Center for the Tilkee noCRM integration is there as well. You'll be receiving this after the webinar, this information. And if the next slide, it just has my email address. There's an extended 30-day free trial for all you clever people that came to the webinar, so you can test Tilkee to your heart's content. And there we go, so that's the end of my part. And if you have any more questions, of course, get in touch with myself. And Mariana, I'll pass over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. So for those who aren't familiar with noCRM.io, just a few words on our system. So it is, it was developed in 2013 by You Don't Need a CRM, a French company based in Paris, but also with teams pretty much all over the place. It's a lead management software, okay? So providing small and medium businesses with a powerful alternative to CRM systems. We already have over 8,000 salespeople using this software in over 80 countries, and it's also available in 4 official languages: French, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And we also have a community-supported version available in German and in Russian. So basically, noCRM.io is a lead management software. It's the anti-CRM, and it was specifically thought for salespeople. The idea here is to help salespeople stop entering useless information that they don't need to use to to do their sales activity. So they really enter the information and create leads in seconds, the information that they need. So the lead is at the heart of our system and not the contact or the company. It's all about closing deals and helping salespeople be more efficient in their daily prospecting and sales activities. Okay, so noCRM.io integrates with vertical software to be partnered to teams throughout the entire sales cycle. And this is what we're doing here today, okay, with Tilkee. So let's just take a few minutes to see how noCRM works, all right? So a quick demo of our system. Let me just share another screen with you. Okay, so this would be noCRM.io. So our software is divided into 3 big sections. We have the cold prospects, the leads, and the clients. But the leads really are the identified business opportunities and the main element of our software. All right, this is what we want you to focus on. So it's important to mention that the system adapts to your entire sales process. You create your own sales pipeline. Okay, so if I go here to the pipeline view, you have your own customized sales pipeline, one that adapts to the way you work. You define also the structure of the lead and the information you want your salespeople to fill out. You also define tags so that you can segment the information and so on. And what's important to know also is that you can create leads in seconds, okay, from cold prospects. So these are prospecting lists that you can import into the system. So you do like your prospecting activities, and once a lead where a contact becomes interested and it becomes a qualified lead, you just need to click on the plus button and it creates a lead. You can also create leads by forwarding emails into the system, using our mobile app and scanning business cards, and also integrating with other apps just to create new leads on the go. Okay, so as said, it's all about the lead, but also about never missing out on the next action and keeping track of your interactions. So whenever you create a new lead, okay, it goes to a status that's called to do. Okay, so meaning that you have to to act on that lead right away. So every new lead that enters the system goes to your to-do list. And then there's the status loop, and the idea is whenever you're done doing whatever it is that you had to do, you change the lead to standby and you add a reminder for the next action so that you don't forget to do whatever you have to do in the future. And it also synchronizes with your calendar and so on. And you can plan a specific activity. Okay, so for example, I need to call this person. I just defined that I need to call them on the 11th of July at 9:30 a.m. And I save this and it goes to standby. Then it goes back to my to-do list and so on. And the idea is when you close the deal, you change the status to 1. If you lose it against the competition, you can change the status to lost. And if you lose it for any other reason, you change it to cancel. All right. So the entire idea is really keeping track of your sales, okay? And all the information that's done inside noCRM is always recorded here, okay? So you'll always see the history since the creation of a lead, and you have all your exchanges with your leads inside the lead file, all right? Everything is shared. And this is where the integration with Tilkee is super beneficial to you, because you won't have to go from one tool to the other to send the documents and track their evolution, okay? But before we get to the integration, just one last thing I want to say. It's very important here to know that we have really nice reports to analyze both your prospecting and sales activities, okay, so that you know how you're performing, and this will help you also improve some parts of your sales process. All right, the integration between Tilkee and noCRM now. I believe it's important that we mention it. We can get started with that. All right, so what I'm going to do is first we'll show you how the integration goes from the noCRM side, and then I'll give Kate back the, then Kate will start with the integration on Tilkee's side. All right, so let's do this. To connect your noCRM.io account with your Tilkee account, okay, you need to do that from noCRM. So you go here to the admin panel of your account, and then you go down and you can click on Tilkee. Here the account is already connected to noCRM, but basically what we'll explain here is that you need to send an email to technique@tilkee.com in order to get an API key to connect your accounts. Anyhow, there's a dedicated help page here. You just need to click here, and we explain everything about the integration and how to get your API key and how to get started and how it works. All right. Perfect. So once the accounts are connected, you can then start playing with both tools. So for that, let's go ahead and create a new lead. All right, so I'm creating a new lead for Orange UK. Okay, and my contact at Orange UK would be Jane Doe, and her email is jane.doe@orange.co.uk. So I select here my tags, the ones that I created, the ones that make sense for my company, and I can create my lead. All right, as mentioned before, it's automatically a to-do and so on. So what's important here to know is I have my actions button here, and I see that create a Tilkee project just appeared. So if I want to send a quote to Jane or more information about what I'm trying to sell to her, a presentation about my company, I just need to click on create a Tilkee project. All right, it will open this window, and I will be able to open the project that I just created by clicking on this URL here. So it opens my Tilkee account automatically, okay, and I can just add the documents that I wish to share with Jane Doe. All right, so I'm going to pick these two. All right, as Kate mentioned earlier in her presentation, you can change the names of the documents. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this. And then basically, if you go back to your noCRM account, okay, and you go to the actions, oh no, you need to refresh the page, all right, and you go back to your actions menu, new buttons have appeared now. So I can either get the Tilkee access link, okay, and send it to Jane Doe by SMS, WhatsApp, or an email on LinkedIn, for example, or I can simply send Tilkee documents by clicking here, and it will open my mailbox. All right, of course, I'm going to have my mail to client defined in my browser for that to work, but it opens my mailbox, and I have here Jane Doe and my noCRM account in the BCC field. So here is presentation plus quote, and you can send the email to Jane Doe saying, "Dear Jane, as mentioned over the phone, here the presentation and the quote you requested. Kind regards, Mariana." So I send this email, okay? And if I go back to my noCRM account and reopen the lead, I'll see that the email is attached to the lead, okay? So now let's suppose that I'm Jane Doe. I just got this email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the documents that you just sent me. So I open these documents, okay? And as Kate showed you earlier, it's very easy. I see here the name, the two documents, okay? And I can go through them very, very easily, all right? So this would be the presentation, and this would be the quote, right? Very easy. Great. So I can now close this. And interesting, if I go to Tilkee, as mentioned earlier, if I go here to access links, I can see that Jane Doe consulted my file. And if I go to the statistics, I will know how much time they spent reading this, on what device, and so on. So what Kate already showed you during her demo. All right, and if I go back to my noCRM list and I reload the page, I'll see here that the Tilkee documents were seen. So the activity is automatically attached to the lead here in the comments area. So this is very, very practical to you too. Okay. So I guess this is it for the integration on the noCRM side.
Yeah. And I'm happy to take over now. So now we're going to look at things a bit more on the Tilkee side. And by the way, thanks so much for all your questions so far. I've seen a couple of them, and we'll get back to them fairly shortly, sort of in about 5 minutes, I'd say. So thanks for those. So yeah, here on the Tilkee side, we're going to see how do I actually create a Tilkee project and first of all link it to an existing lead, or actually create an entirely new lead just by creating a project. So if we go on to create a new project again, and imagine this is going to be for, I think it's Angelware or something like that, Angelware Intelligence. Let's imagine that's the project we want to create, because we want to send Angelware Intelligence some documents. So, as we've done before, we add the documents, can be any file type, as I mentioned, even things like videos and type forms, all very doable on the platform. You can see the upload fairly quickly. So there we go, we've uploaded those. And now the next section essentially is, one thing to mention is that if you want to attach it to an existing lead within noCRM, you have to have the name of the lead and the name of the project exactly the same. So the next step is to actually generate an access link for Angelware Intelligence. So it can be for anyone. You can put the name in here, could be the email address or just their name. So that's that done. And once that's done, we actually want to add something called the lead clipper, which you can very easily find within noCRM. So what you do is you actually go onto noCRM, you go onto tools, there's a bit on the right hand side called lead clipper, and then you very easily just take that button there and you drag it all the way to the top very easily into the toolbar. Very simply, and that's that done for you. So if you go back onto your Tilkee project, then all you need to do now is actually click on that lead clipper button up the top that you've added, and you have two options you'll see. So first of all, we can link it to an existing lead. So this, we won't do it now, but just so you know, all you need to do is click on link this project to this lead, and then that's done. And from that point onward, any Tilkee statistics, any documents sent, anything like that will be updated directly within noCRM without you having to add extra information. So your colleagues, potentially, if you're away on holiday, would see that they've looked at the quote and how much time for. So there's that option, or you can actually create an entirely new lead by clicking on this button here, as Mariana's very kindly showing you. And what we do is we added, so we've got the title automatically in there. You just add the name of the person who wants to have as that main contact with the email address. And you can see that that's all happening without you even having to go onto noCRM, so it's happening within Tilkee very easily. And then that is that done for you. So there you go. Now the projects are linked. You can either open it on noCRM, or you can close the window and continue surfing or creating projects or whatever you like. So there we go. That is now linked up to that particular Tilkee project. And of course, you can potentially link up multiple Tilkee projects to one particular lead, meaning that you can keep track of what they've looked at, what they've not looked at, how many different documents, to what extent they're really interested to deal with this in the best way, in the best timing possible, to have a really slick sales process. So that's that. And obviously you saw within Actions those different steps now linked up with Tilkee. And finally, just one more thing actually on the Tilkee platform I wanted to show you is we have the e-signature in place, and there's a link between the two. So if we just go onto that PDF, so basically it's only a PDF which is signable electronically. So we enable the signature. You can see there's a little pencil logo that we click on and it turns green. Now, imagine that we're going to send this to Jane. So we take that, you generate a new access link, or you take the original link for Jane, for example, we copy and paste that. Imagine that we've sent that to her in an email and she's just clicked on it and opened it. Now, with Tilkee, sometimes it takes 3 seconds, 4 seconds to actually load. So if right about now you refresh that, what we will see is in the top right-hand corner, there says Signed Documents. If we click there, Jane will be clicking on Sign. She thinks, yeah, great price. This sounds like a great tool. She adds her name and her information. And then all she needs to do is add her phone number. She adds her phone number. And then once she clicks on Accept or Send, Submit, that's the one, it will just allow her to actually accept. So I've read all these and I click on Next. And then all she actually needs to do is receive a code to her mobile phone, and she'll add that in, and she'll click on Start Signing Process. We won't do this now, but just to explain that, we can do.
We can do.
Just to explain that once that's done, click Start Signing Process. You've seen how rapid that is, how quick that is for someone to actually electronically sign something. So right from the beginning of your prospection, tracking those documents, having it all loaded into noCRM, and even at the very end of the sales process with the proposal and the quote, not only will we be able to do this through Tilkee and keep track of it with noCRM, but even within noCRM, you will see that the project has actually been won thanks to the integration between the two. And also you will receive an email alert to your inbox with the signed copy of the quote or the proposal, thanks to this e-signature. So it's very much a slick process throughout, which allows you to be ultra efficient as well as your entire sales team. And that is, we can see that it's the marked as one, proofs in the pudding. So I would say that is the summary really of the integration that's been put in place that we're really pleased with, and we hope will be extremely beneficial to a number of you. So I think I would say that that's probably the end of our different explanations of the two tools and the combination of the two. So I really hope that's been useful and clear. And I think now we potentially might pass on to the Q&A session. So
yes,
do we have a look at what questions have been asked? So let's have a look at these, shall we? So,
all right, so we have several questions. Do you want to go through them, Kate? Go ahead.
So I think the first question is from Vipul Seth, so thanks so much. So he says, does Tilkee also analyze how long emails are being read, or is it just for documents? So the answer to that is, so we track purely documents. So this is replacing an attachment in an email essentially. But if you entice someone so much on an email to click on information via this URL, which is branded to your company, then it's definitely worth testing out. I appreciate it would be nice to know how long emails are read for, but if you entice them so much to actually want to read on and click on that link, then I think that's worth it and worth having those analytics rather than not. So yeah, that's not the tool that we created. Us is just on documents. So that's the first question. There's another one. Isn't there a risk of emails ending up in spam because of the URL? That's a good question. We get this from time to time. No, simply because spam filters would have to be quite specific to block a particular URL. And also we work with a number of large organizations, notably banks and insurance companies as well. And that's not what we've worked, well, the feedback we've had from them has always been positive. So that's kind of a response to that question. So let's see if there's another question. So we have another one. Oh yeah, so Phil was just saying they want to optimize their email subject and introduction content. So yeah, of course, prospects will only open the email if the subjects are good and the content is good. And that's something that we actually at Tilkee work on. So not just how to optimize your documents and how to use Tilkee, but during training that we actually offer initially, we also talk a bit more on, try and be a bit more of consultants in the sense that we're able to give you best practices. How do you put together a good email and how do you make people want to click on that link? So, so hopefully that responds a bit more to the answer to the question. So another question from Jim. So Jim says, did you say you can send an SMS text with the link from noCRM? How? I'm happy to take this. Do you want to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So essentially, because it's a URL that you will send to your prospect or your client or whoever to give them access to the documents, you can send this link through any channel that allows a URL to be sent. So you could send an SMS text to your client if you knew that they were really reactive on their mobile phones, and they would click on that, and the documents render really well on any browser and any device. So it could be a mobile phone, a computer, or an iPad, and they would see it in the same way. So yes is the answer to your question, Jim, and thanks for sending that over.
But just a clarification, you can't send an SMS text from noCRM. You would have to send it from your phone, not from noCRM. From noCRM, we cannot send text messages.
Good thing to clarify is that Tilkee doesn't have a delivery platform to send things. It just allows you to create the content and create put the documents up and generate the URL to send through another platform. And I presume it's the same.
Exactly, it's the same for noCRM.
Lovely. Okay, so another question is, can there be an expiry date for the link? On Tilkee side, yes, 100%. You just add it when you're creating that project. And I don't know if there's an element of that on noCRM, an expiry date on the lead or things like that.
No.
Okay, so
meaning that the link that never expires. I think that was the question.
Oh yeah, good question. So you can add an expiry date, but otherwise your prospects will be able to see that as long as the project exists and you haven't deleted it. So I think what adds as a security safety net is that imagine you send the URL out to someone, so a noCRM lead, and you've accidentally added the wrong documents. The good thing is that this URL actually updates itself in real time. So if you sent the wrong document, you simply delete that, and then you add the new version, and whenever they then later click on that link, they will see, you know, all the good versions of the document. So that adds a sort of safety net, and also allows you to add lots of documents to one space and continually use that as just the one space or the access by which your prospect can access any information relevant.
I'm just going to answer quickly the questions from Felipe. Felipe, sorry. There is no webinar planned in Spanish. Nonetheless, if you want, we can organize a phone call between the two of us, and I will explain how the integration works in Spanish. That's no problem.
Okay.
Just get in touch with me.
A question from Jim again, thank you. Can you customize the URL link like proposal for Jane Doe? Yeah, you can. So it's very customizable. So first of all, there's the domain name, which you can choose between a wide number of different domain names that we have available. For example, docs view is the most classic because essentially people are viewing documents. That's why we chose it. You can choose between the URL, the domain name, and you can of course create your own domain name as well. And finally, you can also customize the initial. You can customize the initial part as well, so you can put the name of your company and various different bits like that. So completely up to you how you customize that, but again, Tilkee does not appear anywhere in that. Another question, so yeah, thank you. Another question from Vipul is, are we able to create multiple links for the same set of documents? Yes, of course. So two ways to answer that question is, first of all, yes, because you create a set of documents like your generic brochure and your generic pricing that you might want to send out to lots of people you just met at a trade fair or a conference. You can do that, no problem. And the other way of doing it is also with our marketing platform, which I haven't shown you. There's no integration with noCRM yet, but it could be on the cards. But with the marketing platform, essentially you can take one URL for one set of documents and put it within an emailing campaign or on your website or within social media, for example. So that's slightly extra information that we haven't discussed, but there is that way of doing it as well if you're going to be sending it really to a large amount of people. So hopefully that made sense. So, Mariana, can you see any other questions on your side that I've missed?
No, all good on this side, I believe. I don't know if there are any more questions.
Yeah.
If not, well, if you do have questions in the future, we will be sending you both the recording of the webinar and the presentation where you have our contacts. So feel free to send your questions later on if needed. Definitely.
Thank you so much on my part for Mariana's help and also for coming. It's been great to talk to everyone. Well, virtually written questions. And that's, yeah, so thank you so much and have a great evening. Thank you, Kate, and thank you everyone for coming today, and have a good evening and rest of week and weekend. Yes. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.